What's up, guys? This is Adam from Properly Wound coming at you with yet another review. And today I am reviewing one of my favorite German brands out there, Sinn, or Sinn, as I believe the Germans call it. This is the 556A. So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, I believe we did a 556I review or comparison, something like that, with the Gray Dial Limited Edition. But I'm going to do a full week in review of the 556A. I've been literally wearing this thing for a week straight. I think I've slept with this thing even for about 3 nights out of that entire week. Spoiler alert, I absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's get into the review. All right, guys, so let's get into this Sinn 556A. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly knock out sort of the technical data so I can get right into how it actually is, a week on the wrist or a day in the life, depending on what you guys are interested in. Anyway, so this has a standard ETA 2824, and from what I've read, this actually has the top grade ETA 2824. Personally, so this watch was purchased in 2016. Personally, I have noticed an accuracy of approximately minus 10 seconds a day, which is not ideal, but is still acceptable within the range that this watch offers. So like I said, ETA 28294, 25 joules, 28,800 beats per minute. Hacking, of course, just like most ETAs are. It is actually shock resistant per the DIN ISO 1413 standards, which to my understanding is sort of a German standard for watches, for pilot watches, and it's also anti-magnetic per DIN 8309 standards. So the case is fully satinized, as you guys can see. There's no crazy contrast of polishing and brushing on this bad boy. It's pure stainless steel, satinized stainless steel. Has a sapphire crystal front with anti-reflective coating on both sides. So this is a little bit controversial with Sinn because a lot of people will have issues with the anti-reflective coating on the top layer of the sapphire. And what will happen is it'll scratch, the anti-reflective coating will scratch, and you'll sort of see those imperfections on the crystal in different types of glares and whatnot. And I know that's sort of a pet peeve of some Sinn owners, and honestly any watch owner, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of annoying if you have that. And I know some people actually get rid of that anti-reflective coating that's on the top of the sapphire. And of course it has the sapphire case back, and you can see the ETA 2824 with the very, very nice gold tone Sinn rotor with the Sinn logo on top as well, or on the rotor there, which looks pretty nice. Of course, it has a screw down case back. One of the really cool screw down crown. One of the really cool things about Sinn is even though they have pilot's watches, every single Sinn is 200 meters water resistant, which I think is freaking awesome. Because I know in the watch community, people get kind of annoyed sometimes when there's a watch that says, oh, it's a diver, but it's 100-meter water resistance. So this is for all those haters that hate the 100-meter water resistance. This is 200-meter water resistance with a screw-down crown. Can't complain at all. And of course, the waterproofness test is up to par to the DIN 8310 standards as well. And one of the really cool things is it's also low pressure resistant, which is something that a lot, if not all, Sinn pilot watches are resistant to. So the case diameter is 38.5 millimeters and the bandwidth is 20 millimeters. So very, very watch strap friendly lug width at 20 millimeters. And the case thickness, one of my favorite things about this thing is it's only 11 millimeters. And of course you see there's a pretty sterile dial there with black and white contrast. All right, so let's get into the fun stuff. So, day in the life. So, first things first, I have to say, right off the bat, this is one of the most comfortable watches I've ever had. Um, the size, the bracelet, the clasp, the way the lugs slightly curve on the wrist a little bit there, as you can see. Everything about this thing is perfect. And I'm going to do a quick little body shot for you guys so you guys can see it. You guys can see it up close on my 7.25-inch wrist right here. But we're going to do a quick body shot so you can see how it looks on the actual wrist from a distance. So guys, as if you guys have been watching our channel, you guys will know that I have a 7.25-inch wrist. And I'm just gonna do some shots, some body shots for you guys to see. Because I know when you guys kind of, or when anyone kind of zooms in on the wrist, you can't always tell how small or large a watch actually looks. Usually watches appear a lot larger than they really are when you do wristies on Instagram or whatever. So anyway, here is the 38.5mm case on my 7.25-inch wrist. So I'm just gonna kind of show you guys how it looks on my wrist in comparison relative to my forearm, my torso. I'll do a stand up really quickly. So as you can tell, it wears really, really well, especially with that extra large sort of dial, since there's no bezel on it at all. It probably has the dial face of something that's more like 42mm, maybe 40, actually probably more like 42, 43 to be honest. So it does have a good presence on the wrist for its size, and especially when you're wearing it on this bracelet, I think it wears a lot larger than it actually is. So as you guys could see from the body shot, I mean, it looks pretty perfect. I mean, as long as you're trying to be sort of like reserved and have a nice watch and not be over the top, a little bit gaudy with an oversized watch, 38.5mm on my 7.25-inch wrist looks pretty perfect. So let's kind of talk about some of the things that I really love about this watch that I have noticed. I mean, there's little nuances that everyone will really love about this thing, but so first of all, I'm really drawn to sort of the Pilot aesthetic, right? It's a super, super legible dial, which is incredible. I mean, you're not going to miss any time on this. You have the short, stubby hour hand with the long second hand. And sorry if you guys can already see some of my fingerprints. That's the AR coating just picking up everything. One of the coolest things, I think, on this bad boy, and there's a lot of watch brands that could learn from Sinn, is this super stealthy, discreet date window. It's so small. It matches the color. It's a black dial, and the actual date window is black as well. And it's sort of, I hate how a lot of brands will have the date window at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or even 6 o'clock. And what they have to do is they pretty much have to eliminate one of the indices, right? And I'm sure all of you guys have noticed this on multiple watches, or especially 3 o'clock. It's a very popular position. But I really love this tiny little date wheel that they have right between the 4 and the 5 o'clock position. It's super discreet, and you almost don't even realize it's there until you really examine the dial. It's got to be one of my favorite touches to this thing, because even if you're not a fan of date-bearing watches, this is a date watch that can kind of slide under the radar and almost be considered a time-only watch. So thickness. That's one of my favorite other things about this watch, the thickness of it. So I've sort of, over the last few months, really grown to appreciate thinner watches. And that's probably because it's wintertime here in New York, and I realize that's something that can actually fit under a jacket or a button-down a shirt for work, or even like a long-sleeve t-shirt, or even a flannel. It's kind of annoying when you have a super thick diver that when you try and put the cuffs over it, it just sort of sticks out like crazy, and it's just not, you can't find a comfortable fit at all. So the actual thinness of this movement is something that, or thinness of this watch in general, is something that I really love. And I'll kind of point out right now, as you guys are looking at it, these drilled hole lugs are one of my favorite things. I always loved the pre-ceramic era Rolexes from the 90s and beyond, or 90s and prior, sorry. They have these drilled lugs, which always makes for an easy strap change. And this thing is absolutely a strap monster. That's one of the things I love about this too. We'll get to the bracelet in a second, but you can wear this on a bracelet, leather, NATO, rubber. This is one of those watches that can sort of do it all, which sort of lends to why I think this is one of the best all-around sort of one watch collection pieces you could have. So let's go ahead and talk about the bracelet really quickly. It has a fantastic H-link bracelet. One of the things that I love about this is it's super unique. A lot of watches, I think, well, in my opinion, they sort of borrow from designs from other watches. You know, the Rolex Oyster bracelet is copied a lot, and I think it's pretty awesome that Sinn has their own H-link sort of design. Clasp is pretty nice. You can see it's not just a stamped clasp. Clamps over, and then it has the double locking system here as well, and it's very comfortable on the wrist. Anyway, guys, so I've had this on the wrist for about a week, and I have to say the size, the thinness, the legibility, the quality of this bracelet, the ability to wear different types of leather straps and NATO straps, any type of rubber straps that you want. Literally any strap will sort of fit on this watch, which is why this is one of my favorite watches I've ever tried out. So this watch actually belongs to Jared of Properly Wound, and over the first 4 days, I was almost positive that I was going to buy this, but I decided to be smart and keep saving towards the watches that I really want. But I was really, really surprised when I got this thing, to be honest. I had no idea like what to expect because I had a Sinn 103 before, and then the Sinn 556 came in, and I was absolutely blown away when I unboxed this thing. So if you guys are looking for that one watch that's under $2,000, I think a Sinn 556 and a couple other Sinns for that matter on a bracelet. I really like this because it's satinized. It's a little stealthy. It's not blingy at all. Can be a valid contender for being your one watch or your one sport watch if you have something else. Maybe let's say like a Nomos Orion or an Orient Bambino or something like that. So overall, extremely impressed with this thing. One thing I forgot to mention is there are no pins on the bracelet. There's basically Allen wrench or Allen screw type screws in here that you need to unscrew to size the bracelet, which sort of just adds to the overall quality as well. So anyways, really, really love this piece. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So I know we never do lume shots, but I figured it'd probably be a good idea to do a lume shot for this bad boy. I just put this under a little bit of light so you guys can see how legible it is. The lume isn't crazy good, but because of the numeral at 12, 3, 6, and 9, and the indices and sort of the clear layout, it's pretty easy to see what time it is, and the lume actually lasts for quite a while. So if you guys are concerned about lume or want something that has good lume, even though it's not a traditional diver, you guys can sort of see what the lume looks like here. Obviously no Seiko crazy blasting lume, but still pretty legible. Alright guys, so as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of Sinn as a brand, and in particular this Sinn 556. I think it packs a huge punch for the value, especially when it's on the bracelet. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys have any experience with Sinn. We've also reviewed a Sinn U1 in the past, and I think this is just so much more balanced, and it doesn't have that huge, large diver look with the sort of Lego indices and hands. For me, the Sinn 103, Sinn 104, and the Sinn 556 are probably the go-to Sinns if you're looking for an everyday piece. Right around $1,000 bucks, probably a little bit more, depending on the piece that you're looking for. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about German brands. Let me know what you guys think about Sinn, Damasco. I'm really hoping to get a Damasco one day in for review as well. And as always, follow us on the Facebook page. We have a swatch giveaway coming very soon. Jared posted a video on that earlier, either last week or the week before that. And always check us out on the Properly Wound Instagram, and subscribe if you haven't yet, because we're going to be churning up these reviews and different topics to talk about. So let me know what you guys think about Sinn. Let me know what you think about German brands in the Facebook group, and I will catch you guys in the next review or video.